All right, welcome. Today, we're going to cut through all the noise surrounding one of the biggest topics in tech right now, AI agents. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what they are and then give you a really practical step-by-step guide to building your very first one.
So here's what we've got on the agenda. We'll start with the big picture, then get really clear on what makes an agent different. After that, we'll walk through a 5-step plan to get you building, and finally, we'll talk a little bit about how to use this technology responsibly. Sound good? Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right in. When you hear AI agents, you might be thinking this is some super complex tech for data scientists and developers, right? Well, here's the really exciting part. They're becoming simple enough for pretty much anyone to start using.
The core idea, the real game changer here, is using AI to handle multi-step processes. We're not just talking about automating one little task. We're talking about automating entire workflows. Not too long ago, that would have required some serious coding skills. But believe me, that barrier is coming down fast.
So to really get a handle on this, we first have to understand what makes an agent, well, an agent. How are they any different from the software and the chatbots that we're all using every single day? Turns out, it's a pretty big leap forward.
So what is the secret sauce? It really boils down to two key advancements that totally change how they work: autonomy and connectivity. Let's break those down.
Okay, look at the massive jump in autonomy here. Traditional software is rigid, right? It does exactly what it's been coded to do and nothing more. A chatbot is smarter. It can understand your prompt, but then it just stops. It waits for you to give it the next command. An agent, on the other hand, is a whole different beast. You give it a high-level goal, and it can actually plan and execute a whole series of actions all by itself to get there.
And here's the other piece of the puzzle. Chatbots are kind of one and done. You give a prompt, you get a response, and that's the end of the interaction. An agent can be always on, constantly running in the background, managing things. And this is the really powerful part. It can connect to external tools, to your data, to other systems. It can interact with the digital world in a way nothing before it really could.
All right, enough theory. Let's get practical. We're going to walk through our 5-step plan, and it all starts with the most important step, figuring out what you actually want your agent to do.
Now, I know the temptation is to go big, to try and solve some massive problem right out of the gate. But trust me on this, the key is to start small. Think of a simple, repetitive, maybe even kind of boring task that you do all the time. You want to pick something you know inside and out so you can easily tell if the agent is doing its job right. You know, in a business setting, this could be anything that takes up your time but follows a pretty clear process. Think about compiling those weekly reports, or summarizing meeting notes and sending out the follow-ups, maybe even handling those first-level customer support emails.
And hey, this isn't just for your 9-to-5. You can use the exact same logic in your personal life. Imagine an agent that manages your family's calendar, or helps you stick to a budget, or even plans out your next vacation itinerary from start to finish. The possibilities are pretty endless.
Okay, so you've picked a task. Awesome. Now you just need two things to bring it to life: the right tools to actually build the agent and the right data to fuel it.
For anyone who's just starting out, a no-code platform is absolutely the best place to begin. These tools let you build agents using simple natural language, basically just telling it what to do. You can see some of the big players right here. And it makes sense, right? If your company is already deep in the Microsoft or Salesforce worlds, their platforms are a fantastic starting point.
Now, if you're a bit more technical, or maybe you have a developer who can help you out, low-code platforms like these give you way more control. Think of it like a drag-and-drop website builder versus writing your own code. Low-code lets you get under the hood and really fine-tune things. But honestly, for your first project, a no-code tool is probably all you need.
Listen, this next step is absolutely critical. Your agent is only as good as the data it has access to. First, you have to know where that data lives. Is it in a spreadsheet, a CRM? Then you need to give the agent secure access to get to it. And finally, and this is where most projects stumble, you've got to clean it up. Make sure the formatting is consistent, get rid of duplicates. A little data hygiene now will save you countless headaches down the road.
Now we get to the really fun part, actually building the workflow and testing it out. This is where you take that task you picked and translate it into a set of instructions for the agent, and then just keep refining it until it works.
You can pretty much break down any workflow into these 3 parts. First, the input, or the trigger. What kicks the whole process off? Maybe it's a new email arriving. Second, the tasks. What specific things should the agent do? For that email, it could be find the sender's name, summarize the content, and add it to a spreadsheet. And third, the outputs. What's the final result you're looking for? In this case, that perfectly updated spreadsheet.
And please remember this, your first agent does not need to be perfect. The real goal here is just to learn the process and get a small, measurable win. Maybe it saves you 5 minutes a day. That's a huge victory. It's all about small improvements, not flipping a switch to instant perfection.
Finally, let's just step back for a second and look at the bigger picture. It is so important to approach this kind of powerful technology with a balanced perspective and to understand both the incredible opportunities and the very real risks.
The rewards are obviously immense. Agents can work around the clock on all that repetitive stuff, freeing up us humans for more creative, strategic work. But the risks are just as real. We have to think about data security, the danger of just over-trusting what the AI tells us, and of course the potential impact this has on the human workforce.
The key takeaway, really, is all about mindset. We need to think of these as powerful assistants, not as autonomous replacements. They should be augmenting what humans can do, with a human always in the loop to provide that final oversight, that creativity, that strategic direction.
And make no mistake, this isn't some far-off future technology we're talking about. This shift, this agentic revolution, is happening right now. The tools are more accessible than they have ever been, and the absolute best way to understand this change is to just jump in and start playing around with it yourself.
And that leaves us with one last question. Now that you have the basic framework, what's that one simple, repetitive task in your own world that you're going to automate first? The agentic revolution is here. What will you build?